Okay, we're back. I guess. Is it working? I don't know if it's working. Is it working? It is? I think it's working now, guys. What? Is it really, really working? Yeah, I think now it's working. Okay, we're back. Holy shit, bro. What a ride. Huh? What a ride for us to come back. Uh, so yeah. Um, what the heck, bro? I can't even like comprehend why the fuck. Okay, so now it's healthy. Now we can start. Fuck. Fuck this shit. Fuck this service provider. Let me calm down for a second. Okay. So, let me start from the top. Hey everyone, how y'all doing in this fine good night? So yeah, this is what I like to call a good ride and a good start after a while of being away. Fucking hell. Either way, yeah. So War Phoenix, Mutetas, thank you both for the subscription and the new follow. As I was saying, like I have a couple of things that I've been working on lately. This is the new updates. Let me just quite show you guys since you couldn't like perceive any shit that I was saying. So I've been talking like for what 10 to 15 minutes for nothing. Oh my god. Yeah, so here's the deal. So yeah, we're back, baby. I guess now it's good, right? Now it's okay because I'm looking at the network frames and they're really good, and I don't have any more dropped frames or whatever. So yeah, guys. So I'm still waiting for the resin to come by. I have ordered it, but it's still on delay. Until then, I'm not gonna mess with the diorama that I've been doing. I still need to paint like these goals or whatever in a better way, a more decayed and yucky stuff way. Mainly because as soon as I pour in the resin with the paint for the, to make that how do you say it, to make it look like the swamp style water, it'll be way better if I paint them in another color. Otherwise they'll be like blended in and everything. So I have this Eldari as well, primed and everything. Really looking forward to this guy and to this one as well. Really looking forward for them. And this small dwarf that a friend of mine borrowed me so I could paint in time. It's one of his favorite, and I freaking love dwarfs. And here's another one. I don't remember the name of this dude, but yeah. This is a really, really nice piece that I'm really looking forward to paint as well. Really detailed. Oh, it's that one. Yeah, exactly. Hellbrecht. Thank you. Fuck, I went like to all the boxes and I couldn't find them. So I completely forgot the freaking name, but yeah, it's that one. I'll be painting this one, and it's, let me tell you, it's going to be like fucking insane. Fucking insane. Oh, and I'll also be like doing the Ulrich the Slayer, because I have finished the base. Like, this is the base for the Ulrich Slayer. According to the lore, one of the many enemies for the space wolves are like Nids, mainly. Like the biggest one of them, one of the most and bigger enemies. And yeah, I've done like this tiny base, and hopefully he'll be sitting like on top of here, like that, you know, hopefully. And it's such an interesting and good looking piece. One downside, I don't know if you, yeah, you guys can notice it. It's like becoming yellow. I don't know why, but yeah, I'll fix that when it gets more close to it. Until then, I'll be painting this one. But before I'll be painting Ulrich the Slayer, I want to be finishing Helbrecht, because the type of techniques that I'm going to be using are basically the same. But yeah, so what I have for you guys today, in spite of my title being the same as the last one, is I want to help out my friend here, War Phoenix. Sorry, with a couple of things. Techniques to make our miniatures look better and, you know, good looking, without being like a fucking pro. Well, in a sort of a way, you do have to be a fucking pro in something. I'm joking. But yeah, so let me swap out this one for this one. And let me put, which one should I swap? Oh, fuck it, I'll remove the Lord of Plague. And I'll put this one here. So the thing is, one of the things that normally people don't tell you is you need to properly do a couple of things. And I know most of you guys normally have like Citadel paints and Vallejo, so I'll be using a couple of them. Maybe a couple of them. Let me think if I let me just check if I have this type of green, because otherwise I'll have to be forced to use another one. Yeah, I don't have that green, but I can use these ones. So I'm going to start with the techniques first, but I just wanted to mix the paints. The thing that, well, there are two techniques that I think will pretty much help you out on whatever the fuck you're going to paint. First one is to understand the dilution of your paints, because I know you guys struggle a little bit with it, right? And it's not that hard, believe me. You don't have to be like a rocket scientist for you to understand, because there's more to it than what people actually tell you. And let me show you in just 1 second. Just mix this shit, because these paints have been sitting for a while now. I just need to make sure they're okay. So, they're okay. Let me grab my warrant brush. Even though I'm using this Raphael, don't get me wrong, this one, as you've seen, is like chipped because I fucked it up. I was painting a mini that had super glue on it, so I had to like cut some bristles and everything, and the brush pretty much became like unusable for really fine details. But I like to keep it for me to use as a, you know, a normal brush or heavy brush for this type of, yeah, it was like, don't get me wrong, I was working on a piece, let me show you. I was working on a piece for a competition that unfortunately I didn't won anything on it, but I was working for almost like 20 hours, almost straight, literally 20 hours, and it was this one. So I was painting like this shit. I was painting for 2 full days and the prior week of it, and yeah, let me allow that. I don't know why. Oh, sorry, I can't. I don't know why it's not. Yeah, I can see what he typed, but my auto mod is like he's a crazy bastard. But yeah, I have to remove this type of configurations. I don't know why it's walking these type of messages, but yeah, fuck it. No, you're not getting banned. Don't worry, you're not getting banned. It's just him like erasing the messages. It's stupid, but I always forget to remove it. But yeah, I was like doing this type of job, and the thing was, I was like gluing a lot of them and fixing some stuff right on the spot. The thing is, I think it was with this fella right here. I glued like his feet to the fucking chair, but I glued the cap like after a while, and I was fixing the cap at the same time, and I forgot that I had glue, like super glue on it. So as soon as I literally touched with the brush, I fucked it up. I instantly saw, because of the water reacted with the super glue, and I instantly saw like the tip becoming really, really like, you know, hard. And yeah, I was like really pissed off. And I didn't win, so it was worth it, right? It was worth it. So, but yeah, it's a cool diorama that I did. It's a little bit big, but it's always like a crazy fucking innovation with me every time I'm doing a freaking piece, because I always go way and beyond. But yeah, let's not lose the focus. So, first things first, you grab your paint and you put it whatever the fuck you want, okay? It can either be a wet palette, or it can either be a glass palette. And when I say a glass palette, I really mean it. I really mean like a glass palette, like this one, okay? It's palettes made of glass. It doesn't have the water, so you have to move quick, but at the same time, it gives you like, it gives you other benefits. But yeah, let's pour it in the paints here so I can show you guys what I'm talking about regarding the dilution of paints. And then we'll move up to the frickin' guy there. So, what I mean is, a lot of you think there is only one way of dilution, right? A lot of people say, hey, use like milk consistency. And other people say, well, it must be like chocolate milk consistency, which is a little bit more dense. The fact is, there are a lot of consistencies for a base coat. And people didn't tell you that. Sorry, I'm always looking like this side, because back in the day I had my webcam here. I'm looking right here, but I forgot it's here now. So what I mean is, and yeah, I'll paint on the Space Marine, fuck it. So, get this. You grab a little bit of water from the cup, and you can put it right here. Now you grab a little bit of paint, and you put it on top. As you can see, and let me zoom in. Yeah. As you can see, like, it's really, really diluted, right? And how do I know this is not a good base consistency? Well, if you put it on your hand, you can see like it's really transparent, right? You can see almost the color of the skin below it. This is like a glaze consistency type. So we need to put a little bit more paint. So we grab a little bit more. And now you can see as I'm swirling around, it's like it's more thick. And if I put it on my hand again, you can see that now it's blocking almost like everything, right? But if I put just a tiny bit, and when I say a tiny bit of water, just a tiny bit, like you dip just the tip a little bit, and then you put in here. This is almost a type of consistency of a base coat as well, but it's a little bit more transparent than the other one that we had. See? It's a little bit more, but it's not enough as this one. The only difference is, in spite of you having this type of consistency, which is different, it only means one thing, and only one thing. With this one, you have to do like 2 to 3 passes of paint on the same type, on the same zone, to get that vibrancy of color that you want, like that uniformity of color across the entire miniature. While with this one, maybe just one path is enough. Okay, so this is one thing that you guys don't need to stress it out at all while painting. Okay, and another cool tip is it's better to do more times the same color than it is to do one time and then screwing everything up. Because if you're building the layers little by little until you have that consistency of color that you want, it's more controllable. So don't be afraid of diluting a little bit more the paint that you have on your palette or whatever, because that doesn't mean that you're not using a good consistency for your paint. So for example, I inserted a little bit of paint just to cover it up the other piece of water. And as you can see, like this base coat that I'm doing, it's a little bit translucent still. You can see a little bit of the blue beneath it, right? So what this means is I need to do it a second pass for it to be almost completely like cleaned. While if I put a little bit of water, like I said, just a tiny bit, you'll see on this hand, on this side, that it's more translucent now. Just a tiny bit, not too much, but it is. So it means that maybe I need to do like 3 passes. Okay? But I can achieve, like if you see, this one has more translucity than this one. Well, in here I had like a really whitish tone, but yeah, which doesn't help. But as you can see, there is a difference. Smaller one, but there is. And the thing is, this really helps you with what I'm going to show you guys. So, as you can see, I have these 2 orcs here. Let me put this dude right here. I have this work, right? Oh, sorry, this one. As you can see, I have only put like 2 colors on it. You can see the muscles because of the way that the light is hitting on the mini. But as soon as I put like some shadow on it, since we don't have that much light, you can't perceive shit about it unless the fact that it has 2 colors. While with this one, it's not the same thing. Like you can understand, even though it's like really darkened, you can understand what is going on with the miniature. The only difference, yeah, it has highlights, I know, but the only difference is the way that we are doing this type of hidden, not hidden, sorry, this type of like darkish lines in the middle of every single muscle. And let's call them objects because it's easier to understand. Like for example, you can see that this entire Space Marine, it's blue, right? But a lot of the recesses are black. So it gives you a really good notion of understanding and separation of the elements between the miniature. If it was completely blue, you wouldn't understand like jack shit. about what's going on. And for example, I know it's black, but it's the same thing with this mini that I have here. If I had like a, well, we have the light, of course, but as soon as I put like some shadows on it, you start losing the concept of what the fuck is going on with mini. And yeah, and this basically works with everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. You need to have the capability of creating like the tiny recesses and dark zones for you to separate stuff. For example, I have this mini right here, right? Well, it's not a mini, it's a bust, but forget what I said. Yeah, if I hadn't done like these dark areas right on the cheek, right there, you see that dark line right here? If I hadn't done it, it would become like this one. This one, as soon as I incline and put you facing, do you see that this part of this lip, it's just like, it almost blends in, right? It almost disappears. Yeah, it's not giving that too much depth. And as soon as I show you that one, you can see that it has more depth. So the thing is, you have to understand that by doing a controllable way of applying color is better, at least for me, don't get me wrong. It's better for you so you don't lose that much time with the mini. And what I mean is, for example, I've laid down the base, like the dark color, and this is going to be my shadow color. Okay, I decided, okay, this is going to be my shadow color. So if I was to grab this color, this green that I'm using, which is Wild Flash. I don't know why I said it like that, but yeah. Like a lot of the people would just, paint all over it and fuck it, a huge blob of paint, and you will get all the paint into the recesses and everything of the muscles. And pretty much it would happen what I'm saying here. You would have just an entire monotonic tone of color. But if you apply it just a little bit differently, like I'm going to do, you will see that it's going to change quite a bit. Let me put a little bit more paint because it's too translucent and I want it to be a little bit more thick. Yeah, just like that. And I should go higher in value, but fuck it. This is just for the teaching. You see that I'm applying the paint carefully just on top of stuff, but not hitting the, like I'm not covering the entire thing. So I'm leaving like the recesses part, I'm leaving them. I think I might need to put a little bit more. Let me just grab a little bit of this yellow, this ice yellow, because yeah, on the it's not, well, technically yeah, but no, because they're not like flat areas, But yeah, you get the gist. You understand what I'm saying. So basically, okay, oh yeah, way better. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some paint here, but we're not covering entirely those lines, those shadow lines. Okay? Because like this, you build the volume for whatever you're painting, and at the same time, you're like painting almost like a professional. Yeah? And don't get me wrong, don't be like afraid of innovating. And when I say this, it's like, for example, you can see that there's a tiny gap right there on the muscle. Normally, people tend to like neglect this type of stuff. But if you could, like, for example, in this part of the muscle, I could paint all this entirely as one, but I'm not going to. Yeah, I'm mixing with the ice yellow. This is just to create a little bit of more value, you know, because look here. Now let it be magic. And as you can see, like this green, the one on the shadow, it's almost the same type of green as this one. Do you see the type of value that I have? It's really low. While this green for this one, it's like a really jump in value, a really big jump. So it makes your eye understand the separation of elements as well. This is another thing that I was going to, but I don't want to go to it yet. Let me just finish this part, and I'll help you with the values, because the values is the last thing that I wanted to talk to you today. So we can do like this, and then we can do it like this. Like, you see the difference where you can like paint and be at the same time creative with the fact that you're seeing some edges and go for them. Like, don't paint them, just do some lines around them, you know, little by little. Don't start like too deep on them. Leave some room for the shadows, and then you'll start to see like everything is popping up. And please don't be afraid of doing this, because if you do any mistake, you just need to grab your older paint and just go. Let me grab my other paint, which I think it was this one. I think it was the cold green. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it was cold green that I used back in the day. Oh shit. Yeah, it was this one, I think. Let me see. Was it? It wasn't. Fuck. Which one was it? Was it the green skin patch? Well, if it isn't this one, I'll just quit. And I'll continue with the other one. No, it's not. This one is true green. Right? Yeah, it's too green. I don't know what the fuck I did. What type of recipe did I use? Was it this one? Maybe it was this one. Maybe it was a mix of two. No. Maybe like this? No. I don't know. Fuck it. Doesn't matter. Let me just add these two. Oh, look. A mix of these two almost gets it, I guess. No, it's still too green. It has to be earthier. Yeah, I'm just texting. Like, I know it's weird the way that I'm doing, but I don't know if you guys know, but my mentor is Phoenix. I've been learning like a shit ton with him. He's like a really cool dude. Phoenix Miniature, please check it out. And one of the things that he has been working with me is for me to, like, I was really, I hanged on really much to the fact that I had the need of having a recipe. And it was holding me back like a lot. And when I say this is pretty much the entire truth. As soon as I stopped using recipes and I start like mixing paints to understand how I can get to a paint, yeah, it really gave me like a notion on how stuff work. Look, this green is really similar to it. It might not be the same, but it's getting close to it. And yeah, this is the result. Like, but if you mix paints, it will give you the notion on how stuff works. And believe me, it will be a huge advantage for you to understand how they work. I'm doing some couple of mistakes here for you guys to understand. For example, I did this tiny mistake, right? I'm not gonna sweat it, okay? I'm not. I know a lot of you guys sweat about this because you see like pros doing really cool shit on videos and everything, but keep in mind that a pro doing like a piece for a Golden Demon or something like that, they normally spend like thousands of hours. And when I say thousands, it's like I'm not joking. For example, the last winner of Golden Demon, the Golden Demon Sword, he literally spent almost 800 hours with his piece. Imagine how much time that is. So imagine the amount of time that he made mistakes, that he fixed them and whatever. So how do I fix this, you ask? You basically have all you need. It's the colors. So I have this mixture, which was the thing that I was using for my, well, let's call it first highlight, because it looks more like a highlight. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to gently fix it back to the width that I want for the shadow. And if I ruin it, I don't mind. I just know that I have to grab again paint for the shadow and fix it. And like that, you have it fixed. Just like that. So don't be afraid and don't look for the perfect brush stroke or the perfect application of paint. Wow, I did this on just one go. Forget that shit. No one does that. And if you get lost in those thoughts, believe me, you're going down a really big spiral because I went there. So forget about that shit and just enjoy the process and the fact that you can make mistakes. And sometimes from those mistakes, you can find like cool shit. Don't get me wrong. I've done, for example, here on my Lord of Plague, a lot of these, let me see, do I have paint on this? No. So a lot of these recesses that you see on my Lord of Plague here, like do you see these tiny like lumps of skin? Do you see them? These 3 highlights there? That was done by mistake, bro. It was. I'm not gonna lie, it was done by mistake because I distracted myself and I did one stroke with here with the shadow tone, and later on I thought, well, this could be like a skin fold, right? And I started doing this all over the miniature, and you can see like you can notice that I have a lot of skin folds and tiny little details that on this miniature originally they're not there. They don't exist. It was just me sketching out. And yeah, for example, even here on the leg, you see that it's not even finished, but still it's giving like a really good vibe of a lot of skin folds. And the same goes with the back and the head. A lot of these were like mistakes, and it was me just fixing shit after shit, and it turned out like this. So don't be afraid of going after the mistakes. Actually, the mistakes normally give you some cool shit. And before we go to the values, which I think it's really important. Yeah, you usually just ignore it. Don't. Believe me, don't. Because a lot of the times you will find stuff that you didn't like notice in first glance. Because for example, if I'm gonna do this with my arm, you can see that I have like these two folds maybe of like skin, right? But if I do it like this and you get close to it, you will see that I have way much more than it looks like, right? So it's kind of the same concept. So normally we are just perceiving some stuff because we are not getting like the full picture, and we're not like looking deep enough, you know what I mean? Because normally people think like, yeah, I can have an arm, but an arm is like just this part of the arm, right? This part and just this muscle from the bicep and then the shoulder, and it's okay. But for example, if you look at this arc, you can see that it's way more than that, right? And you can even go crazier than this. Because for example, you could just grab this green, let me just pour this like this, and you can even like sketch out, zoom in, you can even sketch out, for example, veins. You could do like, and you think, well, normally veins are not here, but if you grab this and put it like this, and if you sketch it out, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it like I want it, because this brush is fucking garbage for this. But yeah, I'm sketching it out, right? Ignore the fact that I just removed the shadow part. But yeah, now that I have this, I'm going to be sketching it out right next to the, and I'm going to thin them until the consistency of a vein, and your eye will start perceiving this as a vein because it has a shadow on it. It has to be really thin, but you will start seeing, well, it's too light, but it shouldn't be this lighter. Let me just see if I can tint this. Yeah, it's becoming tinted. And as soon as I'm like tinting it up and up and up, yeah, I'm just sketching up some veins on it. And I'm like blending them so they are not as harsh as they look like. And as soon as I'm, oh yeah, definitely. But in this case, you would have to go with a really light, well, at least I would go with a little light glaze like I'm doing this here. It's like really, really transparent. Oh, sorry. Like you can see it here. It's really transparent, this glaze. It's almost non-existent. Mainly because I want to change the tone. Yeah, and as you can see, it's becoming more and more like a vein that it's highlighted. It shouldn't be this big, but it's becoming more and more like a vein. Right? Like this. Well, I didn't actually sketch it per se, but yeah. You see? Look at the difference of how it was and how it's now. It looks like a vein, and it looks like it's something from the arm itself. Right? And even if I went with a little bit of the dark again, just to highlight, just to give it more depth, like I said, separation of stuff. Look at that. Now it looks like a fucking vein. And don't get me wrong, there I go, looking at that side. And don't get me wrong, it's like, I'm not very good at doing this type of shit. But the fact that I understood this shit, it's like, it's freaking golden. So, sketch it up. Don't be afraid of doing mistakes, okay? Because you can always go back to the color that you had and clean it up again. And do this over and over again, as many times as you can. Because this will help you a lot. And I'm not lying. It will help you a lot. If you lose the fear of applying paint, of applying stuff on it, you'll gain like so much with it. So after I'm sketching, one thing like you said, War Phoenix, one cool thing that I like to do is I glaze a little bit. And normally when I glaze, I do two types of things. So one of them is I try to understand what's the intensity of the glaze. Again, like I said, when I'm talking about intensity, I'm talking about the dilution level that I want on my glaze. So, because for example, this one that I have right here, it can be a glaze because you can see the skin tone of my own skin right beneath the color. So this could be a glaze, but it's a really harsh one. So it's going to eliminate the color beneath it, and I don't want that. What I want is a little bit of more water to it. And this is where the wonders of glazing will be happening. So I will not apply this right away. I know I did it for the vein. I know I did it for the vein. But don't get me wrong. I did it because I'm used to do it. So I know how to do it. But what I strongly advise you guys to do is as soon as you dilute the paint and you have the consistency, for example, this one, it's a good consistency because it's almost transparent, but it's not transparent. So it has some pigment for you to work with. You'll grab yourself a little piece of tissue or kitchen towel or whatever, and you roll your brush to remove the moisture. What this does, I know it seems like you're wasting paint and everything, but the best way to glaze is for you to remove the excess of water, because the excess of water makes the pigments go all over the place, right? Instead of them going to a certain zone that you're applying, since they have so much water, they'll be going like around the stuff that you want. And the thing is, they will not be sitting on the correct spots that you need for them to take action. So you'll take longer, you'll be more messy, you'll become like blurry, you know? So what you do is, like I was saying, you remove the moisture from the brush, and now you'll be applying that glaze. Now, the thing is, don't expect an immediate result on this. Because it's going to take you a while. Don't get me wrong, but it's how things work. But as soon as you do like 2 to 3 passes, you'll be seeing that it's going to become more and more cleaner, and well, it's not only on the recesses, okay? I'm doing on the recesses because I don't want them to be so harsh. So what you're going to do is on the transition of color, okay? Does it make more sense like that? So whenever you have a transition of color, for example, here on the shoulder, right? I have way much shoulder, I have way much shoulder here, and the recess is right here, right? But let's say I don't want to go on the highlight until this recess. Let's say I want this part to be in shadow, okay? Because I'm assuming the light is coming from like here. So this part will be shadow, okay? So what I'll be doing is I'll be dragging from the shadow, Let me grab a little bit of this, get the tone, and let me dilute it just a little bit. Remove the excess. And now, let me just confirm, yeah. So what I'll be doing is, right on the edge where I have the two transitions of color, I'll be coming from the shadow and dragging to the light. But look at the way that I'm stopping the brush. I'm stopping the brush right next to the area that I want the separation to dim down. And as soon as I'm doing this, you're starting to see that it's like taking effect right away. Let it sit. You see how it's building the color? So as soon as I do a second pass, it'll become like more and more like a fade. Oh, no. You can do the other way around. It just depends on how much you want it to be. And again, remember, you can always clean up the mess that you did. You just need to go to the other color and fix it up. What I mean by this is, for example, let's say I don't want the shadow to be that big, so I'll be pushing way more from the shadow into the light of area. So I'll be coming way back, okay? And I'll be applying here. Sometimes you'll even see me doing on the side, because I'm lazy as fuck and I think it results better. But as you can see, this works. Why? Because since you're dragging, look at this. Okay, right here. I have paint on my brush, right? And I removed a little bit. If I go and paint my hand, fuck. Okay, it's not strong enough. But as you can see, like if I start painting, you'll see that at first here has more color, but here has less color, right? What this means is just really simple. It means that when you have paint on your brush, the area that you're applying the color has more intensity of color, and then you're dragging the brush and you're dragging the color all the way to the end. So it means that this part will stop having that amount of color and you're dragging into the other part, right? Let me use this one, because this one is better for us to understand. So for example, if I'm dragging, do you see, as soon as I lift my brush, do you see this puddle of water here, of paint? It's more dense than this one. And you'll see that this one will become darker than this one. So when you're fading, when you're glazing, when you're dragging, it creates this effect. So you put the paint and you drag it onto the part that you want to eliminate. And the thing is, it'll become like a fade. Now, if you want this fade to become even better, what you have to do is grabbing a little bit of the paint for the shadow, okay? And you do the same process, but in the other way around. So you grab a little bit of water, you dilute it, let me dilute a little bit more, you remove the excess of water, and then you come from the light and you drag it towards the shadow. And you can do this as many times as you want until you're satisfied. Now, what I'm gonna say to you is don't be like too stressed about it, because a lot of the people forget that normally people don't see minis like in 2 fingers away from your nose. You see minis this far away, like an arm's length, right? You put the minis right here and you look at them from here. So as soon as you drag the mini further away, if the effect sells, okay, if the effect looks good on your eye, then you can stop. Don't become like a crazy motherfucker like me that becomes obsessed with stuff and then does the same shit 3 to 4 to 5 times until like I finally quit and say, okay, it's done. Because I forget to put the mini further away from me to understand if the effect sells or not. For example, if you put it like here, the effect doesn't like sell at all, right? It's a little bit blurry and stuff. But if you put it right here, look, it's way better. And it's just like that. It's as simple as that. Yeah, this is basically like almost everything that I wanted to talk about the techniques. So you need to understand that there is not only one type of dilution. There's like multiple types of dilution. There are like multiple types of glazing, multiple types of base coating, multiple types of wash. There is no put this paint first and then put the other one first and then the other one again. Like you can mix stuff. For me, for example, I prefer doing what a lot of people don't like to do, which is, if I don't know if you guys noticed, but a lot of the pros normally like to put the mid-tone color, which would be this one, first on every part of the miniature, and then they'll start working around the shadows. I don't like that. I prefer, because I feel like I'm doing an extra step without needing it, you know, because I can put the entire shadow area first, everything with shadow, and then starting working up the midtones, and I have the shadows already there, and then I just have to blend them. So it's easier for me to understand as well where is shadow and where is not, because I'm doing that work first, okay? For example, that's one of the reasons that I'm saying, like, there is not just one way of doing stuff. You can do multiple ways, that shit. And yeah, the last thing that I think it's good for you guys is to understand value. And when we say value, it's literally like the difference between one tone of color and the other. For example, we have these two types of greens, right? Well, let's say we have these three types of greens. When we look at them, yeah, we can distinguish them. We can right away. But are the values too far apart? That's a good question, right? And if you put the grayscale, which is this thing, if you use like a filter on your camera, on your phone, whatever, on OBS, whatever you want to use it, you'll see that, in fact, in spite of these two, with color being further away, the value that they have, it's not. So what does this mean? It means that if we're using these two colors together, you will not have the perception really well on how they will work together. So if you're using these two colors to separate something, like a muscle from the arm, a plate from a recess or something like that, it won't work because they're not too different from each other. But if you do this, it is. You can tell them apart right away. And even with this one, you can tell them apart, even though like it's a little bit more lighter. This one is a little bit more lighter than this one, but yeah, you understand the gist, right? So one thing that people forget, and it's something that actually ruins their minis, is the fact that normally people tend to use colors that are really close to each other, and they end up like fucking everything. For example, these two, they are not in the same value, and we can understand that by doing this, yeah. But there are some colors that are really close, like for example, these two greens. Are they in the same value? I don't think they are. Well, you see, it's not as big as the other two greens. it's more dimmed down, this one, which means that if I create a mid-tone between these two, I can blend them more easily because it's a closer tone, right, from these two, from this one. So this one is a closer tone to this one in spite of having a value a little bit off. And you can even see, for example, you see my hand? I have four types of paints actually. I have this one, this one, this one, and this one. Look at them. Almost looking like the same. This is a big difference. And as soon as you start applying this filter, like I don't mean that you need to paint with this filter. You don't. Well, you can. I'm practicing it, but the thing is, I strongly advise you guys, when you're picking paints, use this filter for you to understand the difference between colors. Okay? Because that will help like a shit ton. For example, look at this motherfucker, right? You have this rich red, you have these darker browns, and these browns are coming from this red, right? But the value, it's awful. Look at that. Look at this. You can't even now, you can almost not perceive the gray, the brown. You understand? Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, like I never thought about this shit. And Phoenix is saying this type of shit like over and over on his live streams and on everywhere. Because people forget this small detail, that sometimes you're painting a miniature and the miniature looks bland, like it looks like bleh. It looks like it doesn't have any impact. And at a certain distance, the miniature just looks like a big blob of paint. It doesn't look like anything else. And we think like, oh, that person doesn't know how to paint or whatever. And then when you get close to it, you understand that the person actually can paint. But what the fuck is going on with the miniature? Well, it just means that the fucking value is wrong. It's like way off. For example, like this one. I should go either with darker tones on the shadows, or I should go with higher tones in the reds. So either I go with orange reds on top of the highlights, or otherwise the miniature will become dull as fuck like this one. You understand now? I know this one is not finished yet, but you understand what I'm saying, right? For example, look at this mini. You can understand right away the differences. Like you can understand that on the cloth, there's just one tone. You can understand that on the legs, there are like a subtle mixture of skin and highlights, even on the belly, in the face. You can understand where is shadow, where is not, where is highlights, right? Even on the hair. And as soon as I remove this, you can see that the contrast between them, it's fairly good. It could be better, but it's fairly good, right? It gives you a good notion. And for example, if I show you the back, like the back and the mid-tone here, it's the same value. Look. But one it's purple, the other one is orange. So I should fix this, right? And this is how you can understand, because at a certain distance, the skin looks the same. Look. Yeah? The back and the front. And this was what I was talking about. So you need to be careful with this type of shit. For example, this Space Marine looks fucking insane and fucking awesome looking from here. But looking for here, you can see right away that it has a lot of imperfections, a lot of harsh paints. And I did this exactly like it's now, because I wanted to show you guys this perception. Like here, your eye is perceiving that it's bouncing line, that it's metal. and that it's like being highlighted as gray, right? But as soon as I zoom in back to you guys, you see that it's like really rough. And if I put the gray area, the gray filter, sorry, you can see the difference in tones. You can see that there are 2 tones here, here, everywhere. Yeah. And this is the biggest issue with non-metallic metal. So when your NMM doesn't work, it means that your value fucking sucks. I'm sorry. I know people might not say this, but it's the truth. I'm sorry, but it is. So for example, look, you have non-metallic metal paints from AK, right? This is their gold set. And you have like this paint right here. If I use the grayscale, you can see the difference between tones, right? Look at the tone, right? Even the whole red to this purple, you see difference between them, right? So even here, they just don't tell you, but here it is. You have like a difference between the colors. And this is what makes you perceive the non-metallic metal. So when you look at the finished product, you can understand where is shadow, where is highlight, where is mid-tone, where is everything. And as soon as I put the color back on, wow, yeah? This is how you sell the non-metallic metals, is by you looking at this specific thing. You need to be careful about the tones of your colors. Okay? Don't let your eyes like do wrong to you. Be careful with that. Like, for example, let me show you guys this mini that I painted a couple of weeks ago. If I put the grayscale, you can see that the blues are really way off. And I did this on purpose because I thought, well, metal, normally if it's brand new, or if it's too intense, you have 2 separation of colors. And as you can see, you can perceive this. You don't need, what I'm trying to say is, sorry, I'm not being too clear with this. What I'm trying to say is here, for example, on this metal, on this non-metallic metal, gold from AK, they tell you to use 1, 2, 3, 4, what? 6? No, 2, 4, 5, yeah, 6 paints, right? But you actually don't need 6 paints. You can even do metal with just 2. For example, like I'm doing here, I have 1 dark blue and then 1 big lighter blue. And this sells you off right away. And even if you look at the green on the orc, you can see that I'm doing the same shit. Look, I have 2 greens only. 1 darker green and another lighter green. Just that, 2 colors right away. And you can perceive what it's shadow and what's, like I could have gone a little bit lighter on the green, but I didn't want like that much of a intensity of green. So I left them as is, because it's a tabletop one. Yeah, exactly, because if you have 2 paints, you can actually create 2 type of tones between them. So let's go with that. Like, for example, here. This is another piece that I have painted. I've only used 2. Okay, I've only used 2 colors. Well, actually, it's 4 colors. But for the reds, I've only used purple and red. And you can see the difference. In here, you have a really bright orangey red. And in here, you have the purple. And what I did was I put it like 3 types of those mixtures. I had like the purple, a mid-tone, which was a mix of 50-50 more or less of both. And then I had the other one. And just that gave me like this clean look. You understand now? So as soon as you start searching for the recipes, as soon as you start searching for the recipes and you start mixing with paints, you can do this type of stuff. For example, even this blue, you can see it's just two tones. It's just a brighter blue and a darker blue. Just that. Look at the fade that I did right here on the on this part of the arm. It's really, really good, like really smooth. Yeah? So this is just two colors. You don't need to actually paint with 100 colors for you to have like a good result. This is just enough. You just need to understand how dilution works and how you can, by darkening the recesses, it gives you the separation of the detail. For example, this one here has a good separation on some of the folds of the cloth, but this one here doesn't. So this one here stops, depending on where the light is hitting, the minute you stop having that notion. And I should have gone a little bit more darker on the recesses, but on this side of the arm, you can understand it better because I did it a better job there. Yeah? And as soon as I put it here, you even understand it way better. Even the metal, right? Look at the non-metallic metal here. You perceive it really well, right? Look at this. It has a shit ton of stippling. Look at the amount of stippling that I did here. Look at this micro detail that I did. And yeah, it gives you the same thing. So if you guys want, I can like mix two paints and show you guys how to do it. But it's really easy. You just need to put both paints on and you're good to go. Let me put this one here, like a clean part of the palette. Which colors do you guys want to try? It can be really stupid ones if you want. Like War Phoenix. What's a color that for you it's really hard to work with? Because you can create really good tones from it. Okay, white for sure, yeah. I understand. Give me another one. Yellow too? Okay. So there's an issue with white. Do I have my color wheel? Yeah, I do. I don't want to... like, it's really late for you guys to start studying. I've also struggled with yellowish... my God, I'm making my hands, yeah. Sure, go, bro. You know, I'll start, like, digging up some colors. So, like, Death Guard green. Death Guard green. That's a good green. It's like this. It's like an olive green. And then yellow. Okay, let me grab this type of yellow. And actually, you know what? I could go with these types of green as well. And let me grab my white here. And ice yellow and ivory. Guys, let me just grab a little bit of water. Because I'm thirsty as fuck. You know how many degrees are in my bedroom right now? It's 26.9. Bro, it's fucking hot. Look at this shit. 26.9 fucking degrees. It's like I'm burning in my fucking bedroom. I'm almost feeling, I'm almost having the same feeling as a chicken has when it's on the fucking like oven. Okay. Fuck, I'm thirsty as fuck. And my eyes are really dry. Because I have a fan that it's like cooling my fucking cell phone. What? Jesus, you don't need time to dry the paint. 26. Yeah, I don't because it dries right away. It's insane, right? Imagine when I have to paint with my glass palette, which is it doesn't have like the moisture to keep the paint like a longer time. So I'm those types of use cases where the wet palette actually pays off. Like this fucking wet palette actually really, believe me, it really pays off. Mainly because of this. Because otherwise my paint just dries right away. On the winter it doesn't, but yeah, that's to be expected. And I had my wet palette like filled up like a lot, like almost to the top, and it still dried up in what? How many hours are we? Like 1 hour and a half, maybe, because of that incident with the internet, because my router decided not to work today. So yeah, let's just wait for Phoenix to come. Let me just put my glasses. Don't mind the fact that my glasses are red. I have photophobia. So which means, what that means is I'm really sensitive because I'm like light. I have really light eyes, green ones, and my eyes get really tired and I start having like huge cramps and everything. Not cramps, sorry, headaches, and like some twisting eyes and stuff like that, and even nausea because I'm too sensitive to UV light, blue light, um, and all the spectrum of light next to the UV. So from time to time, I have to use these red filtered glasses. It doesn't rob me the notion of, well, this one's doesn't. It doesn't rob me the notion of paint or color, sorry. But I have another ones, which is for emergency only. It's when I'm just having those really strong headaches, and look at the difference between them. Like, it's really, really harsh. Like, this one gives you like, for example, let me see if I can, oh, I can actually put it. Nice. Look, you can, well, let me see if I can put it on this part. Like, you can perceive the colors. Fuck. I'm destroying the thing here. So if I put the filter on, you can perceive the colors, right? It's not a big difference. But if you use the other ones that I have for emergency only, look at this. I cannot paint with them because it fucking robs. It's like filter from PC, more or less. It's mostly because I work like 9 to 10 hours a day in front of a PC, but it's mostly because I'm like a night owl. So normally I produce my, what is the name of it? It's melatonin? What was the name of it? Yeah. So the problem is my melatonin, this stuff that you produce, which normally gives you to your brain the notion that it's nighttime, so you should go to sleep. I'm not like the other persons. So I have a defect on that part, which means that I start producing melatonin way, way later than the other persons. So normally, like, I can easily stay up till 6 a.m. without feeling tired at all. So because of that, I've been like a really night owl person, and the fact that I'm not too exposed to light, it means that my eyes get really sensitive whenever there's intense light, either being with monitors, either being outside. So I'm developing what people say, or people like to call, vampirism. Not vampirism in the fact that I'm drinking blood and everything, but vampirism in the fact that I strong light, it's really bright for me, so I need to use these glasses. Yeah, it's a bummer. It's a bummer. And like, even I don't know if you guys, let me show you. I don't know if you guys can see, but like when I'm painting, the lights need to be like below, but they're still really close, right? You can see that it's like what, a palm, like a palm away from when I'm grabbing the miniature. So even this gets me really tired. So yeah, it's a burden that I have to go with. Yo, welcome back. So I gathered up. I was talking about the fact that I have photophobia. Sorry, guys. In what situation is the glass palette used? Oh, that's a great question. I was hoping you guys were asking that question. Yo, don't mind asking questions, okay? No question is a dumb question for me. So be like go on a rampage and ask all the questions that you guys want. So the glass palette can be used in whatever situation you want. The only difference is, okay, I'm gonna talk about this before I go to the paints and the contrast between them. So for you to understand the big difference, you need to understand how the wet palette works. So imagine this. You have the sponge, right? And you have water. What happens is the sponge is doing like a type of capillary action. So it's absorbing the water and it's pulling the water up, right? Because of surface tension as well. So you have two variables working on this. So you have like the capillary action from the sponge, which is sucking up from below towards the top. And then you have the surface tension, which helps holding the water at the surface level, right? As soon as you put a paper on it, the paper is constantly absorbing that surface water and it's pulling up at the same time. Whenever you have water on top, aka paint, this paint, as you can see, for example, here, let me just twist this up. This paint right here is way more diluted than from what came from the pot. Like this one is straight from the pot. But if I put that same paint right next to it, you can see that it's not that diluted, right? It's more dense. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is the sponge is absorbing the water and pulling it up. The paper is absorbing the surface water from the sponge and it's pulling it up. Whenever you have paint on it, the paint is accumulating water little by little. So what does this mean? It means that the paint that you have on your wet palette, it's becoming more and more diluted as the time goes by. Okay? Exactly, Warphoenix, exactly. That's why people tell you not to put contrast paints on your wet palettes, because they start absorbing the water that is coming from the paper and they become more diluted and more diluted as the time goes by. What that ends up doing is your paint is going to be more diluted than it was, and it's not going to be a wash, it's going to be a glaze or something even more diluted, you know, like this too. And this one as well, okay? So, you asked, and rightfully so, what's the big difference? Well, the big difference is on your glass palette, you don't have this capillary and water action going on. What does this mean? Well, it means that as long as you leave the blob, like the initial blob, be, it'll take way longer to dry. At least this blob, right? But as soon as you put this one and start wiggling it around, this water painted, I don't know what the fuck I just said, this paint that it's watered down, it's going to dry really fast. That's the only thing to it. But the thing is, every time that I go here and grab paint, the paint is almost always at the same consistency until it dries. So as long as I don't let the paint dry, it means that I have always the same consistency. While on the wet palette, as the minutes go by, I don't have the same consistency as the paint that came from the pot. That's the only difference. You will see that a lot of professionals, normally they tend to be using more and more glass palettes or dry palettes, whatever you want to call it, because of this, because they can guarantee like this that you have the paint almost at the same consistency every single time, because it doesn't dry right away. Okay, you just need to be mindful that you need to keep the consistency of the paint and not let it dry. And what I mean by not letting it dry is applying a little bit of water, applying a little bit of paint again, and you do this the same amount of times. And you can see, you can even, why it's not zooming? And you can even see that even when I'm applying a little bit of water now, it's become more diluted. If I go and grab a little bit of paint again, it becomes back to the same consistency, and it's not drying out. So as soon as I'm painting, I go back in, I grab a little bit of water, I grab a little bit of paint, and I go again. See, it's not like that crazy. You just need to be a little bit faster while painting. So in a way, you can think like this is like the glass palette or the dry palette, it's for professional people only, but it's not. If you start using right away, you'll understand better the concept of mixing paints and the concept of having a certain type of dilution, because the wet palette, in the contrary of what people think, it actually makes shit harder. It makes your paint get more diluted. It gets your consistency more tricky to understand, because as the time goes by, like I said a million times already, it makes your paint more diluted. So it actually, wet palettes make everything worse. Okay, in that regard, don't get me wrong, they're really good. Example for me, I have 26.9 degrees right now in my bedroom, like I've shown you. And yeah, if I hadn't, these paints were already like way drier than they are. So for me, for example, in my use case, they really help for my sessions to go by, but I'm really conscious about the fact that the paints, like after 2 hours, maybe, I won't use these ones. I know it's crazy. That's why I tend to just use tiny blobs like this one, so I don't waste that much paint. But after a while, for example, if I had to paint the orcs, I won't be using this paint, because this paint is way diluted. It's not like the pigment and everything started to break already. And it's not going to be the same consistency as the one that came out of the pot. So yeah, this is the big difference. And I really recommend you guys to test it out, the dry palette, because it's a really a game changer, believe me. Well, it was, at least for me, it was a really big change, and I spent like, I think, what, 2 to 3 months only using the glass palette, especially in the winter, and it was like a freaking game changer. And as soon as I understood the action of the water and stuff going on with the wet palette, I then understood that the problem wasn't with me, it was with the tools that I was working with. So that old saying that you need to understand the tools that you're working with to become a master, it's actually true. Who would have thought? So yeah, Phoenix, like you were asking. So if I was you, okay, let me put the glass palette away just a little bit. I'll clean it up afterwards. So yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing, just a different tool, but the aspect is the same. Yeah, the glass tiles. Yeah. Use a smooth tile. Yeah, it's perfect. It's like it's the same fucking thing. I didn't had any, so so I thought to myself, well, let me see if someone has it, and luckily a friend of mine bought one and he didn't like it, and I bought it cheaply, but no one has, like, not everyone has that luck. So yeah, but it's the same thing. It's the same fucking thing. So now, regarding your question, Phoenix, you have like 3 types of yellows. You have white, other yellows, and 3 types of green. And on these greens, you can see that sorry, I have to take off my glasses because otherwise it's messing with the colors a little bit. But yeah, if you put up the grayscale and you check the value of them, look, they're not that big between them, right? So if you ever were to use these 3 greens, for example, do you see the difference between these two? They're not too big. So if you were to use this green and this yellow, this green has yellow. So they would be, and they are really close to value. Look. So it's not a big of a jump. It's not that noticeable. While if you go with these two, for example, now you have a big difference. So if I were you, if I was going to use this like a green and a yellow, like you were saying that you have some difficulty with, I will always use this black and white filter to understand the type of value that I should go with, just so I'm not like messing it up regarding on the tone that I should be using. And the same goes with the other two. So if I put them like this, I would prefer way more this tone with this one instead of this one with this one. So if I had to choose, I would go with this two, right? So this two or this two would be what I would go with, for example. Again, don't look at the colors themselves. It's just a preference. I could go like this because the value, the separation on the value, it's almost the same. Like you can even see that the colors look basically the same type of yellow under the filter, under the grayscale filter. So yeah. So let's say that I go with deep yellow, and let's say that I go with olive green, which is the green that you were, well, it's more or less like the green that you said for the Death Guard. Yeah. So basically, what I would do, let me just mix them really fast. Putting them on my vortex mixer here. Just a little bit as well on the yellow. Yeah, it's a little bit more yellow. Well, on the screen, it's not, I don't think it's a little bit more lighter than it's showing on the screen. Even the yellow, it's a little bit more lighter. But yeah, what I would do is I would put a little bit of here, and then a little bit of here. Oh, this yellow is really watery. What the fuck? Yeah, it's more watery. I don't know why. But yeah, so what I would do is I would grab like this, a little bit of yellow, put it right here, and I will start mixing. When I'm saying mixing, I'm like doing this type of shit. Then I'm grabbing more yellow here, more yellow, and I would do like this type of shit. See? I have like right there, I have 3 tones. And if I want to go like even further, I could go with even more yellow. And now I have like 4 tones. You see? And it's at a base coat consistency. Right there. So it's a thick one, but it's a base coat consistency right there. It's even good that the yellow is a little bit like watery at the same time because it helps. It doesn't matter. Like as long as your other color is a little bit more thick, you just need to be careful with the amount that you put in. But as you can see, you have 4 tones that you can use right away. And this one could be your shadow. This one could be your between the mid-tone, because this is the mid-tone. And then I can put more yellow here. See, like that. And then you have the main highlight there. And if you want to go even further, you could add what you were asking for the highlights, right? The thing is, a highlight of this, you're painting yellow cloaks because the yellow didn't stick. What do you mean by didn't stick? Like the paint didn't stick? Oh, yeah, because look, okay, if the paint is not sticking to the surface, it could be that it has like any type of oils, because normally we live like we have a lot of oils in our skin. So whenever you're touching a mini, if I were to do this on the mini, if I was to apply, you know, the mini would have like a lot of oily stuff. So the surface becomes like waterproof. That's one of the reasons that you need to use gloves or handles so you don't grab the mini. And if the paint is too watery, it's becoming even harder for it to stick to the surface, you know? So that's 2 of the reasons. But if you want to make your paint a little bit more dense, you can buy like a medium that it's more thick. For example, right now I have, well, I don't want to show you guys this because I have like a shit ton of mediums, but and you will think that I'm a crazy motherfucker. But yeah, for example, you have thinner, right? And you can see that thinner is really like almost like water, but it has like some transparent pigments that will help the paint become more watery, but without separating the pigments too much. But on the contrary of the thinners, medium, it's more, look, it's more thick, right? So what does this do is it helps you dilute a little bit of the water, of the paint, but at the same time, as you saw, it has like a milky color, and this is like pigment that helps the paint not lose the color. So this pigment becomes tainted with the original color that you mix with. This could help you if the paint is too diluted. This will help you like maybe get a little bit more densed up. And you even have other mediums like this one, which is way thicker. Yeah, this is matte medium. And this is way more thick, as you can see. So this could be a solution. Either this one from Liquitex. It doesn't matter the brand. You just need to make sure that you look at it. Yeah, it looks like white glue, yeah. You just need to make sure that you look at it first, just to know if it's thick enough to help you like recover a little bit of that density of the paint. Where the fuck do I have my, oh, it's right here. Yeah, so let's go to the final part from what you were going to ask, which was, you normally use white, but the white doesn't work too well. You know why? Because there are colors that the pigments are like a bitch to work with. Don't get me wrong, but it's true. What I mean by this is the way that the pigment has to be done for us to perceive that color in our eyes. It means that the pigment has a different diameter. So it's way bigger than the other ones. What this ends up doing is as soon as you dilute the paint becomes more transparent because since the pigments are bigger, they'll separate more. Okay? This is what happens. And the colors are especially yellows, especially white. Sometimes depending on the red, if the red has yellow or not on it. And the browns as well. If the brown has yellow, well, everything that has yellow or next to yellow, it's really a bitch to work with because of this. Because yellow, it's a paint that it's really hard to work with. So don't sweat too much about it. Yellow is a bitch. It is. It's the bitch of colors, basically. And yeah, for example, I don't know if you ever noticed, but if you use blues instead of yellows, the blues are way better to work with. And it's like almost instant to use. And that's because, like, the pigment for you to, yeah, or even the, the red being easy to use? Because I don't think the reds are easy to use. The reds are a bitch as well. You say they are good? Well, yeah, okay, it depends. If the red has yellow on it, and what I mean by yellow is, for example, these ones, they don't have yellow. This scarlet red, if I apply white, you will see that it'll become like pink. So it's not yellow-based red, while this one has yellow. So yeah, it depends on the yellow, on the red. Like I said, it depends on the colors that have the yellow on it to make the color or not. Yeah. Because you have seen that, right? Yeah, you use more darker reds, but normally darker reds tend to be more pinkish tone. Yeah, I even have, I think I have corn red here. Don't I? Yeah, I have corn red. Look, if I grab corn red right now, just a tiny bit, if I, like, right away, straight up from the pot, you can see that it's pinky. Yeah, exactly. So what ends up doing is as soon as you apply a little bit of white, you understand that it's not like yellow-based. See? Because normally when you apply the white on reds that have yellow, they become orangey. They don't become like pinkish. Well, it depends on the type of the amount of yellow, but white, normally when you want to create a highlight, you don't use white. Why? Because of that I was saying. Because white, as soon as you apply a little bit of water, since the pigment it's too big, it becomes too transparent. It becomes like chalky, right? That's like I'm almost certain that this is your biggest issue. As soon as you start diluting a little bit of white, it becomes like chalky, and it becomes like it has some texture on it. And if you want to do like a flat surface, it looks like it has some texture on it. That is because white normally, like I said, has a bigger pigment, so you will start to noticing by the amount of layers that you put that you will have that type of texture. So what normally people, and when I say people, I'm like mentioning the pros, what the pros normally use is they go for off-whites, or what they like to call off-whites. And that means having whites or variation of whites that will help you with the colors, with creating the highlights without affecting the way that the highlight is being done by not creating texture. And at the same time, it's not like pure white. So if you put pure white, like if I was, like you can understand what I had put pure white, right? It's too white. So you right away, if I put it further away, you can perceive it as color, as a light, but it's too white, it's too bright. Exactly. It's like if this was real life for this mini, it would mean that the mini was like as close to the lamp as like 1 centimeter from it. Like, do you understand? Even my arm, if I put my arm, look how bright it is. If I put it away, and if my camera helps me, because right now, okay, if I put it like this, it's further away and you can understand the color. So this is the same thing, it's the same issue. So normally people, the pros, avoid using white because of this, okay? They only use it if they want to do like that small dot, you know that small bright dot that they do right on an edge, for example, like on here. I have a small dot right there. It's the only example that they use it. But I did on various parts so we could perceive it, okay? Especially in here. I did it here, it's way too much, way too much. But on there, it's way too good, look. Because at the tip, it helps you get that perception that it's shiny only at the tip, because we know that normally vertices, they are brighter than the rest of the structure. So by using these ones, you can create highlights for everything without compromising the too bright issue and the chalkiness. Because for example, if I put them under the grayscale, you almost cannot perceive which one is what. Do you understand now the magic of the grayscale? It's like fucking insane, because this changes completely your way of looking at colors. Because for example, if I hadn't shown you this, you would say, oh, why would you use a green? Why would you use a green as a highlight? And I would say, why not? Yeah. And even this one, you would say, well, why would you use like this creamy gray, like creamy one for a highlight? And I would say, why not? Because if I put it on the grayscale, they almost look like the fucking same. So they can all be highlights. And the thing is, it creates an interesting mixture. For example, let's go with the green and with the creamy gray, okay? And after this, I have to go because I have to get really early. I have to get up really early in the morning, so. But I'm too excited explaining this shit. I love to explain stuff, so. Yeah, sorry guys if I'm extending this too much. But yeah, let's just finish this up. So if I put the green here, okay? This is the greenish white. And I'll put the creamy gray. The fuck? They're really close to greenish white, creamy gray. Okay, so if I grab the greeny gray a little bit and I put it right here. Let me zoom in so you guys can understand it more. Okay. Let me grab a little bit of this yellow. Look. And I can add more so it becomes more whitey, more whitey. And look how bright it became. It became like really bright. Yeah? But if I do the same with the greeny, let me put it right here, or maybe I'll put right next to it so we can perceive both. Right? If I grab it right here, it's a little bit more yellowish because of the green. You understand the difference? Because it has more yellow, so it will become more yellowish. And if I had them right by side, you will see the difference, but they both are highlights. Look. They are both highlights. And they are not even close to like their final form, but they are both highlights. The thing is, you cannot, like this one is greeny, yet the yellow, it's really vibrant, it's really good, it's really cool, right? And it's a good highlight for this one. And even this one is a good highlight for this one. It would just dim down a little bit, yeah? But still, just because it's next to it, it will give this one, it will... So let me just explain this real quick. If I have this green, and if I put like a green next to it, that it's more bright, it will make this one right away look darker. Look at that. It becomes darker. But if I remove it, and if I show you, it doesn't look as dark as it was if I put this one next to it. So the thing is, you have to understand that if you're looking at a color like this, you say, it's not as bright as I think it should be, but as soon as I put it right next to the colors that I need it to be, it will start making these ones look darker and darker. Okay? So you have to understand this. Sometimes, it has happened to me like a shit ton of times, sometimes as soon as I start putting the highlights, the other colors become darker than they were before. And just because I added that type of color, I need to understand if it's going to work well or not. So don't be too stressed about it. And you can also like create, like you can grab a little bit of piece of paper or something like that and mix stuff. I wanted to find my book, but I don't know where the fuck I put my book. My mixture book. Where is it? Where did I have my mixture book? Because I had a book somewhere where I do mixtures of paints to understand how they work. Let me see if it's on this table. I think it's on this table. No? It's not. I don't know where the fuck it is. Where the fuck did I put it? Well, never mind. But you understand the gist. So you just need to not be careful to try stuff out and experiment over and over again until you have what you need to work with. And sometimes you need to put the colors right next to them, to each other, just so you can perceive stuff, just so you can understand if they're going to work or not. Yeah, fuck it. I don't know where the fuck that book is, but for example, you can see that I have this dry palette right here, and you can see that it has a bunch of colors because I normally mix them right next to each other to understand how they're going to be, and I even mix them, you know. I just don't put them right by side. I just mix them. And I understand, okay, this is going to work. This is not going to work. Never mind. I'll switch it up to another one. And I'll use the grayscale as well to understand if the value between them is going to be as good as it should be, so it can pop the miniature. You know, look at this shit. Look at this amount. Like, and this has like layers above layers above layers. So yeah, you can even see that in here. I have like a shit ton of layers. But yeah, guys, I think this is it. I've talked like I haven't in a while, and it has been fun. One good thing that I'm going to do, if you guys are interested, I'm not going to promise you when this is going to be done, but what I'm trying to do is I have this blackboard, yeah, and I'm like printing. I have like these small octopuses that I 3D printed them, and I'm going to do like a comparison between colors, like a color swatch, I don't know. I think it's color watch. But yeah, I'll be doing that. And as soon as I have it ready, I can send you guys the pictures. I'm going to try. I've talked with a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, and he has like a huge fucking camera. Mine is a little bit old. Mine is a Canon 700D, and his is like a brand new fucking one. So yeah, I'm going to do that. Because I want to see a comparison between colors. I want to see, I don't want to have the need to experiment the color to understand how it's going to look. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be doing this to understand how it's going to look like before I apply it on a mini. Because sometimes you look at a paint and it's looking like this, but as soon as the paint dries, it becomes like this, way darker. Yeah. So for me, it's really essential to have that shit. But yeah, just to finish, look, this is just one base coat. Look, the first base coat that we talked about, yeah. And this one is way more transparent. So as you can see, this is a type of base color, base color consistency. Two types, I mean. One more watery, the other one more dense, but they both work. So yeah, guys, that's it for today. If you guys want to see it, the video again, you will see that I have VODs either on YouTube and either on here on Twitch. Normally on Twitch they disappear after a while, but I leave them on YouTube, so you can go there and check it up again if you need. And yeah, I'll see you on the next stream, which will be next Friday or Saturday. I don't know. Maybe I'll do on both. But yeah, and if you guys want to do some types of exercises and stuff like that, we can do. Just hit me up, send me a DM, and we can work it out what we are going to talk about next and what type of interactions we can do. Even like, for example, if you have a miniature that I have as well, if you want, I can like go with the flow and you guys choose the paint and we can paint together. Yeah. And we can like, maybe I can add you guys to my Discord and then you can submit me the photos as you are painting. And then yeah, I can show you guys my results and we can go together and painting together. I think that would be a good idea, maybe. And like that, I can give you like more tips and more stuff, and you can ask questions and fix your shit while we are going. Yeah, that's nice. So send me a DM with your like a hands-on class, exactly. Send me a DM with your names on Discord so I can add you guys up to my Discord, and then we can talk about it on Discord which mini we're going to paint. So please don't come up with crazy ideas. Like I have all the death rattle, like I have the entire army of vampires of Age of Sigmar. I have a couple of Space Marines, a couple of Death Guards. I think I still have the Death Guard. Let me check. But if you have other minis, just hit me up. Just tell me which ones so I can buy them before. But I do have like Death Guards here. Broken pieces because of the other minis that I did. But yeah, even if you want, like I have Saurians? I don't know what the fuck they're called. I don't know what the fuck is going on with me, but I completely forget. Like I'm terrible with names. I don't know why, but I'm always terrible with names. All the names. Like if you know how much I had to struggle the first years. And I know it's insane. But get this. If you knew the struggle that I had, so I wouldn't call a different name to my girlfriend. Right at the start of our like relationship. It was insane. Let me tell you that, because I'm terrible with names. I'm really, really terrible with names. But yeah, just hit me up with a DM telling me your Discord. I'll add you on my Discord. Telling your name on Discord, I'll add you up on my Discord, and then we can decide which mini and stuff we're going to use. You called everyone Kevin. That's a good idea. That's a fucking good idea. That's a good fucking idea. Why haven't I thought about? Well, but it could be rude. It could be rude. Not to guys, because us guys we don't care. We just like to fuck around. But like with women, you know they get pissed. Unless they perceive that it's a nickname. Oh yeah, but like for example, if a girlfriend, let's say, yeah, okay, yeah, but let's say that your current girlfriend, let's say you have a name for her, okay? Let's say you call her like Sweet Boo, okay? And you always call her Sweet Boo. If she finds out that you call every other your ex-girlfriends Sweet Boo, I guarantee you, brother, she's going to fucking flip the fuck out. Yeah, that's a big fucking no-no. So that's a good idea, but it has some flaws on it. So what I like to do, and this is just my personal thing, I like to give specific nicknames for persons that I know that I'm not gonna like forget. Some persons that fit on the same type of relationship. For example, if I have really close friends, normally all of them I'll call them almost the same shit. But if I have other friends, for example, from work, I'll call them a different name. But it's a name that I can tell to everyone, you know, in the same social group, in a matter of speech. Only my girlfriend has a different nickname that no one else has. But yeah, even sometimes I forget her name because I'm always calling her by the nickname, and then I forget what her name is. So yeah, sometimes I fucked because I'm trying to call her and I'm like, what was the name again? So yeah, but guys, really, just hit me up with your Discords. I'll let you guys in a couple of minutes, or maybe tomorrow. I'll let you guys, and then we'll discuss which mini we'll go with, and we can do on our next week the painting together, just so we can, and you guys choose the colors, which is fine. So War Phoenix and Mutetesh, please Find the craziest shit you want to paint. Like, not hard. When I like, don't come up with a fucking insane miniature, okay? Like, for example, don't come up with a crazy dude like this one, okay? Don't come up with this fucking miniature because this will take us ages. This will take us fucking ages to paint. Come up with a simple one. Like either a Space Marine, a Death Guard, or, well, they are not that simple to work with because of the shapes and everything, but like, for example, even these dudes that I just forgot the name again. What was this dudes? You're a Necron player? Okay, good. Oh, you're a Necron player. Okay, nice. I do have a Necron here somewhere. I do have one. Where is he? Sorry, I'm just looking for him because I'm. I had him. Where did I have him? Is it on the other cabin? I think it's on the other. Let me see. Let me see. Where are you, little fucker? Where the fuck are you? Oh, here it is. I found him. I have it here. Yeah, we could go with this one. And for example, we don't need to do like that basic shit where we only paint NMM with silver or gold. We can go like fucking crazy if you guys want. For example, I have this one here. And we could be painting like, oh, this is a Death Stalker? Okay, nice. I don't know what the fuck they are. I just know they are a Necron. I'm like, I don't play at all, so bear with me. I only know the names of the vampires because I fucking love vampires, so I bought all of the vampires there are on Age of Sigmar. But yeah. So if you guys want to go with Necrons, we can go with Necrons, and we can even like paint him orange. I don't know, whatever the fuck you want. We can do like orange NMM. We can do purple NMM, blue NMM. Yeah, this one was 3D printed. You can even see the layer lines right there on the muscle. I didn't bother too much to remove those. But yeah. Yeah, some parts are clean, but other parts it left the layer line. It needed to be a little bit shifted. But yeah. I play. I don't know most things either. Okay. You're even worse than me because you play them, and you have seen like you must have used the cards or whatever the fuck you use to understand what their abilities and stuff are. But yeah, yeah. If you want to go, we can go with Necrons or whatever the fuck you want to do. Just hit me up, whichever mini you want, and we can decide between the three of us. And yeah, we'll then decide which colors in the live stream, or think about it, or we can like decide prior to that. Not prior, before that, I mean, on what color scheme we might go with. But yeah. Thank you for following pre-program. Sounds like a plan. Okay, so. Okay, nice. You send it, okay. Where? Did you send me on? Oh, you sent me on WhatsApp? Okay. Then send me the one from Mutetes as well. Because you know his Discord, right? Because I guess you guys are friends, right? I'm not making a crazy assumption, right? Yeah. So guys, thank you a lot. It was really fun. I love your questions and everything. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next Friday or Saturday, whatever is better for you guys. And really, it's the same thing. It's really basic. Sorry, it's just it's. Sorry, I thought the name of him was like more complicated, but yeah, it's like a unique name. Nice. So yeah. Oh, maybe on the next stream I can teach you guys how to clean your fucking brushes, because I've seen that a lot of people don't know how to clean them, and it'll be like a good material for a short as well. So I can do them here on the live stream and take advantage of it. So yeah, looking forward to it. Pre-programmed. If you want as well, you can send me your Discord and we can all paint a mini together. So, see you guys on the next weekend / week, Friday, Saturday, whatever it is. Have a great night of sleep and rest. Take care, and I'll see you. Have a great one, everyone, and I'll see you around. Bye. And thank you all for the follows and the subscriptions and everything. You guys rock. Peace.